Hey there, and welcome to our explainer. Today, we are diving deep into how political campaigns are really won and lost in the 21st century. I mean, it's not just about shaking hands and kissing babies anymore. The real fight, the real battle, it's happening right here on our screens. So, let's break down this new digital election playbook.
So, when you think of an election campaign, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it, posters tacked onto telephone poles? Maybe those cars with loudspeakers driving through town? Or a big rally in the town square? For decades, that was pretty much it. But we have to ask, in a world where we're all glued to our phones, do those old methods even stand a chance? And this really shows you the massive shift we're talking about. The battlefield has literally moved from the streets to our smartphones. The tools of the trade have gone from paper leaflets to viral videos that pop up right in our social media feeds. With more than half the world's population on social media now, political opinions aren't just formed at a town hall anymore. Nope. They are shaped, they're challenged, and they're locked in online every single day. So that leads us right into our first major idea here, the new campaign battlefield. The internet isn't just another tool in the campaign toolbox. It's become the main arena, the place where modern elections are actually fought and won. And at the very heart of this new battlefield is this idea of micro-exposures. Just think about your own social media feed for a second. You're scrolling, you see a post from a friend, a funny cat video, and then, boom, a 15-second clip of a candidate's speech. You might not even stop to watch the whole thing, right? But these little repeated interactions, they gradually build awareness and they start to shape your perception over time. It's more like a continuous conversation than a one-time event. Okay, so if the game has totally moved online, what does that mean for the old playbook? Well, it means that those traditional methods all by themselves just aren't enough anymore. Let's take a closer look at exactly why these old ways of doing things are failing in our super connected world. When you look at the results, it's not even close. Digital campaigns just blow traditional methods out of the water when it comes to reaching a huge audience and keeping them engaged. I mean, think about it. You have no idea what happens to 1,000 paper leaflets, but you can track every single click, every view on a digital ad. That makes it a way more efficient strategy. And this might be the most important point of all. A rally can draw a big crowd for an hour, sure, but once it's over, it's over. A really powerful video, though, or a well-crafted post, that can be watched and shared and debated for weeks, months, sometimes even years. The impact just keeps going. So what's the answer then? It's not about just throwing random stuff online and hoping it sticks. The source material we're looking at from the consulting firm TNIB, it lays out a whole new philosophy, a really structured, ethical approach that's all built around a strategy of trust. And this is the core idea right here. The goal isn't to try and trick or manipulate voters with nasty ads or fake news. Sure, that stuff might get you some attention in the short term, but it just destroys the most valuable thing a candidate has, their credibility. Lasting success, sustainable victory, that's built on earning real, genuine trust from voters. So this whole approach, it rests on four key pillars. It's about establishing that credibility, earning the voter trust we just talked about, building a positive public image that actually lasts beyond just one election, and of course, delivering a real, measurable impact when it counts on voting day. Okay, so that's the big idea, the philosophy. But how does it actually work? What do you do? Well, let's open up this digital playbook and take a look at the key components of a modern winning campaign. A winning digital election campaign isn't something you just improvise, no way. It is planned out to the last detail. It all starts with a really deep dive to assess the current landscape. Then you set clear, realistic goals. From there, you build a roadmap for all your content. And then you execute. But, and this is key, you're constantly measuring and tweaking your approach based on what the data is telling you in real time. Now, one of the most powerful tools in this playbook is data-driven targeting. This is not about blasting the same generic message out to everyone. It's about being smart. It's the difference between a vague message about the economy and a super targeted message about student loan relief for younger voters or one about social security for older voters. When you make the messages personal and relevant, the campaign just becomes so much more efficient and effective. So what kind of messages are we even talking about? Well, the content has to be good enough to cut through all the noise online. We all know that great visuals and video grab way more attention than just a wall of text. So a modern campaign is going to focus on compelling images, video that tells a powerful story, live Q&As to feel more authentic, and consistent branding so people instantly know who you are and start to trust you. But of course, the internet isn't always a friendly place. Misinformation can spread like wildfire. A smart, modern campaign doesn't just sit back and wait to get attacked. It has a proactive crisis management plan ready to launch at a moment's notice. The goal is to get ahead of false stories by pushing out verified facts and positive messages to protect the candidate's reputation. All right, let's get to the most important part, turning all those clicks into actual votes. Because let's be real, likes and shares are nice, but they don't mean a thing if they don't translate into support at the ballot box. So how do you bridge that gap between online buzz and real-world results? Well, first, you use the online world to make your offline efforts bigger and better. You use social media to announce a town hall meeting, to get more people to show up at a rally. And then you share the highlights from that rally with a way bigger audience than could ever fit into the actual room. And it totally works the other way too. When you meet a voter in person, shake their hand. That personal connection can be the spark that turns them from someone who just passively sees your posts into someone who actively follows and supports you online. The handshake reinforces the follow. It's like this powerful feedback loop. And here's a huge advantage of any digital election campaign. You can measure pretty much everything. You are not just guessing if you're making progress. You can track your reach, you can monitor your audience growth to see if you have momentum, and you can even analyze public sentiment to get a real sense of how people are feeling about your message. That allows you to adapt your strategy on the fly. And it's really important to remember that this whole playbook isn't just for massive national political campaigns. The source material makes it clear that these exact same strategies are being used super effectively in all sorts of contests, from elections for the local chamber of commerce to professional associations, all the way up to the highest offices in the land. So let's do a quick recap of the big takeaways here. First, elections today are a digital-first battle. Second, those old traditional methods just aren't enough on their own anymore. Third, trust, not manipulation, has to be the foundation of any successful digital election campaign. And finally, it's a clear, well-thought-out strategy that actually connects those online clicks to real-world votes. At the end of the day, it really all comes down to this simple fact. The important conversations are happening online. Voters are making up their minds online, and influence is being won online. The future of how we choose our leaders isn't coming. It's already here, and it is undeniably digital. And that leaves us with one last massive question to think about. If campaigns are becoming this targeted, this data-driven, this immediate, what does this whole digital transformation ultimately mean for the health and the future of democracy itself? Definitely something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.